Welcome. You're watching UBC-TV. I'm with Reggie Eilert, one of the founders and creators of the Harlem Automotive Show.
Yes.
Correct?
Absolutely.
Reggie, why did you decide to start this vintage automobile show?
Well, it's a tribute to our elders, quite honestly. There's a gentleman by the name of Curtis Mills. He founded Mills Patrol Service, and he's a collector. He's not deceased. And one day we were assembling on 125th Street and 5th Avenue in Harlem. We had about 5 or 6 antiques, and a crowd just gathered around, just ordinary people walking down the street. And they were asking questions. They had a lot of information. They were so glad they could get answers to their questions about the cars. And we said, wait a minute, why don't we have this in Harlem?
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot to be said about supply and demand, correct?
Supply and demand, sharing information. The auto industry is perhaps the most important industry in the world. In our country, certainly. Our president saved the auto industry.
Exactly. Thank you, President Obama.
Thank you, Mr. Obama. This industry is responsible for many, many jobs. You see the rebound in the economy. So we celebrate, we share information, and as far as people of color goes, the auto industry, led by Henry Ford, demanded that workers get paid the equal pay to do the same job.
Nice. There was a lot to be said as far as how automobiles really built America. And now when you look at the plight of Detroit, you see really what those industries did for the economy and for the community.
Yes.
What do you say to the automobile industry, being a consummate educator of it, that they still need to do for us to rebound from the plight that we're in?
I say simply this: build it in America. You have the greatest talent pool, the greatest technology pool. You have a willing and able workforce. Build it in the USA.
One of the most amazing, beautiful things about Harlem Week is understanding and knowing our history. We have Mr. Julius Freeman, an original Tuskegee Airman. And I have to say that because there's so many people that don't really understand and value what you do. So I want you to communicate to our viewers right now the importance about knowing about the Tuskegee Airmen.
First of all, I would like to say to all the students and the children and youth of today, we paved the way for you. You now have the opportunity to be whatever you wish to be. Do not play games with yourself. Do like James Brown said, get on the good foot and get it together. Stay in school and get an education. That's where it's at.
I noticed that all of you still stay together. All of you still, the ones that are still here with us, empower each other. How important was that during the time when you were going through the drilling and the learning and how to become an aviator?
Well, what happened, the Tuskegee was not supposed to be successful. It was called the Tuskegee Institute. It was an experiment. Something was not supposed to be successful. And only when Eleanor Roosevelt came to Tuskegee to take a flight, and she wanted to fly with a brother, a man of color, the white officer wanted her to go with the white pilot, but she said, no, I want to go with him. She took a flight with Johnson. After that, she went back to Washington, D.C. and told her husband, these boys can fly. And that was the beginning and the success of the Tuskegee Airmen.
Knowledge is power, y'all. You just got the knowledge. Please use it, utilize it, and know that not only do you represent yourself, but you also represent him. Let's keep the tradition alive. I have none other than Ronald Lyles from the Mutt Brothers.
Mutt Brothers, correct?
Yes. Now you were the first, one of the only African Americans on the United States racing team back in the 1970s, correct?
That's correct.
Talk about what that experience was, and then we're going to talk about this fabulous car.
Well, getting there was the problem. We had to spend a lot of money to get there because we wasn't there because we was black. We was there because we could qualify. We was the top 8 out of 16 cars. So that's why we was a member of the United States racing team.
And that's how you got the name Rapid?
Rapid, as in rapid transit.
Now, you know what's so crazy about it is that I heard that you actually took this car from a stock model car. And back in those days, those cars were very heavy. And you made it go a quarter in how fast?
880s at 160 miles an hour.
What?
But we had to have horsepower. The horsepower on these cars, well now, the horsepower here is 900. And that's where we get the mile an hour from, the horsepower.
The torque was crazy.
Torque, yeah. 700 pounds of torque. What do you know about torque?
I tell you, don't let this get you twisted. I know a little something about a little something. What were the racing years like when you finally made it and you said, oh my God, I'm a champion? What went through your mind when you got that title?
Starting from South Carolina, I knew one day I would be a champion in something. I don't know what it would be. I played the saxophone, I played guitar, I went to DJ school, I did everything. I wanted to be something special. But I didn't know that it would be racing. There was a lot of hills to climb, and what we did was we got connected to the Sox and Martin team, which is one of the elite racing team. In order to be the best, you got to deal with the best. And that's what we did. And right here, United States Racing Team. And that's how we made it. You cannot start from the bottom and expect to go to the top. We dealt with the top, and they was the engine builder. And they built the engine for this car. And during the 70s, the short block for this car was $1,900. Today, the short block for this car is $40,000. That's a big difference, isn't it?
Yeah, even with the program, I noticed the program itself was $2. Nowadays, any program is $20.
That's right. That's it. We performed at Capitol Raceway, which is in Washington, D.C. The best crowd was in Minnesota. Minnesota, we had 30,000 people in the stand on a Wednesday night. That's how this racing team was. It was an elite.
Now, you call yourself the Mupp Brothers, so it's a family affair.
It was 5 of us. 5. There was Ronald, Jesse, John, Eugene, and Benny. And there was no way to do it without teamwork. And I always suggest that to folks today. Teamwork, you can accomplish so many things just by working together, putting your resources together and your ideas, because everybody has something to bring to the table. And we had a little white boy from North Carolina, Randy Stewart. He was good. He loved us to death. He said, you know, one day this gentleman called me a Caucasian, and I wanted to fight him because I thought I was black all these years.
Black on the inside, maybe not on the outside.
That's right. That's it. That's right. That's it.
In all your years of dealing with racing, dealing with cars, what bit of wisdom would you like to give our viewers right now that they really should know if they're deciding to get into this career?
Pick a point, and how can I get from here to there, and work towards it. And it's guaranteed to happen, but you have to focus on something. You can focus on a lot of things, but you got to work hard towards one, and you won't fail. This is our first major win. This is Benny, that's Ronald, and that's Eugene, 1971.
And Ronald is him. He keeps on putting himself in third person, but me.
That's right, yeah, that's it.
The adrenaline rush from going 160 miles an hour, back in that day, was really fast. What were some of the hazards that you had to stay conscientious of?
Number one, you don't have a speedometer. You have a tachometer. Your tachometer tells you to shift at 8,300. And when you do 1, 2, 3, you're running 160 miles an hour. So you don't realize how fast you're going until time to stop. Then you pull your chute. Your parachute, if you run over 150 miles an hour, you must have a parachute. And the parachute brings you down to 100. Then you apply your brakes.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I never knew that. That's pretty cool.
Well, that's important to save your life.
So what, if there's any website or contact information that we can get you?
Our website is www.ronald/Lyles.com. And our email address is ecac921 at yahoo.com.
We're here at the Harlem Auto Show, Vintage Auto Show. One of the most fabulous cars today is this Auburn, owned by Mr. Ronald Rollison. Welcome.
Welcome. How you doing? Thank you.
I'm doing well. I'm loving the car, and by all the pictures that have been taken today, I think you're one of the popular ones for that best fan car.
Okay.
Okay. So talk about how long you've had this car and why you decided to purchase this car.
Well, I've had the car since about 7 years, and I like the timeless design, the sleek designs, and it's timeless. It's the kind of car that maybe Clark Gable or one of the mobsters would have been riding around in 1936, because that's the only people who could ride in a roadster, a two-seater car in 1936. So I really appreciate it. It's a good-looking car. It's sharp, and you don't see many things like it, so it's unique.
Now talk about the ride itself and the actual engine, because back those days they were kind of gas guzzlers. How does that affect you in today? Did you convert the gas, or do you still, what type of gasoline and stuff like that?
Well, you just want to use a high test gas, a gas with a lot of octane in it, and you recondition the engine for today's standards. Not too much difference, but it's a great engine. It runs well, and for the times that I drive it, I enjoy it.
I also noticed that you have all the original parts in this car.
Yes, we do. It's pretty much the same way I brought it, and I just try to keep it maintained. A beautiful car, and I love it.
Well, there you have it. They always say the car reflects the man, and when your lovely outfit, definitely. In a male-dominated field, we have none other than the extraordinary Tammy Jones, who reconstructed this Saturn. Saturn never looked so good. It's a whole different planet. Yeah. Talk about why and what you did with this car.
Well, originally I had planned on buying a Corvette. Everybody loves the Vette. And as I was getting ready to purchase the Vette, I saw this car here, and I just saw what I could do with it. And I said, you know what? This is my mini Vette. So I took the 2007 Saturn Sky and transformed it. That's why I have the transformer symbol on there, because I transformed the car into something special for me.
And talk about the engine itself as well as the suicide doors. Like, you actually do this work. You know every inch of this car.
Yes, I'm very, very particular about my cars. I've done a lot of work. I started out with the 78 Mustang with the 302. And I took this and I said, you know what? I want a powerful beast that I can do myself. So I have it fixed up, and I have it tuned up to 300 horsepower, 245 off the rears, kicking about 30 pounds of boost. And everything in here, including the intercooler pipes, the custom air intake, I had everything color coordinated to work with the color coordination of the car.
That type of boost probably goes 0 to 60 in about 8 seconds, you would say?
No, just a shy under 5 seconds. Woo! Tested and true. I've taken it up to about $150 over the Arizona mountains. And I'm a big Michael fan, so I dedicated my car to Michael Jackson. As you see here, I have a very good friend, and he did the artwork for me here. And wait, this is the kicker of the car. You guys got to walk back this way.
Okay.
I have a customized rear lighting system. This has LED lights underneath, and at night it all lights up with Michael.
That's fabulous. Passion with cars. This is not your only one. No. What got you into redesigning and reconstructing cars?
Well, believe it or not, I spent 15 years in the military, and there was nothing else to do, and I love cars, and I just ran with it from there. So this is like my 17th car. Actually, my third one in my stable right now.
Nice. Tammy, is there a website or anything like that we can stay in touch with you and find out what else you're doing?
I'm all over the internet world. You just look up Tarantula Sky. You can find me. I'm on Facebook. And like I said, you just look up Tarantula Sky. I'm there.
If you want to know about vintage Mercedes-Benz, this gentleman right here is definitely a consummate connoisseur, because he owns one. Mr. Don Johnson, welcome.
Thank you.
Don, talk about your vintage Mercedes.
Well, I've had it for quite a number of years, and it's a 1963 230 SL. So it's the first Pagoda, they call them Pagoda bodies that they made. They made Pagodas all the way up to 1971. It came from the 230s, 230 SLs, the 250 SLs, and the 280 SLs.
Now, this is before they started doing the fiberglass. This is actually a heavy car.
Yes, it is. It's all metal and all steel. And the only thing aluminum is the hood and the trunk.
Exactly. But you know, there's a benefit to that because it actually hugs the road because it is heavy when you're picking up the speeds. How nice is the ride?
The ride is very nice.
If you were to compare it to the Mercedes-Benz of now versus later.
It has its bumps, but I think that you don't ride it as often as the newer Mercedes. So when you do ride it, it's enjoyable.
It definitely gets the eye, correct?
Exactly.
Now, why did you decide to be in the Harlem Automotive Show?
It was just I seen the Harlem, and I'm from the area, so I decided to come to the Harlem show.
We're now going to the years of the Great Gatsby, 1930, with Mr. Owens, Isaiah Owens. Welcome. Talk about this hearse, because it's absolutely fabulous and very vintage.
Thank you. This is my 1930 vintage hearse, which is a hearse that they created from a Rolls Royce front, and they put the Cadillac other parts on it to make it a Rolls Royce and a Cadillac. And I ordered it. I had it built about 6 or 7 years ago, and it's just a very unique looking piece of merchandise.
Yeah, it's a wonderful concept car. I loved it because when I first looked at it, I thought it was a Rolls Royce. And then when I looked at the back, I was like, wait a minute.
Not quite.
Not quite. When you conceptualized the creation of this car, what did you want people to get from seeing this car?
I've named this car the Harlem Renaissance. The Harlem Renaissance because the Harlem Renaissance went from the late up until like 1930 something. So to me, Harlem has kind of gone full circle now. So it just represents the Harlem Renaissance for me.
The class, the distinction, the history, and the heritage all in one. Now, your family actually has a funeral business here in Harlem, correct?
I have a funeral business here in Harlem. Okay. I'm the one that has the funeral home here in Harlem.
I stand to be
Yes,
corrected.
yes.
40 years.
40 years.
Talk of what it means to be a Harlemite and having a business in Harlem, especially during the time where they're trying to gentrify all of us.
Well, it's special. I came to New York in 1968, so I saw the decline of Harlem, and then I've been here long enough to see the rebuilding of Harlem, and it's absolutely phenomenal to just ride through some of the blocks around the corner from the funeral home where all of the brownstones were burnt out and abandoned. Now they've been purchased and restored, and Harlem is just back to, I think, what it used to be.
I agree with you. There is a certain je ne sais quoi with Harlem that when you come to this borough, you know it's a land of heritage. You know it's a land of history. And I'm loving just how much that they're putting focus on that history. So any last words of advice you would want to give for anybody that comes to Harlem?
My advice to people that come to Harlem is just enjoy the moment. Enjoy the people in Harlem. Enjoy all of the sights in Harlem. Enjoy all of the soul food in Harlem and all of the music and all of the things that only Harlem can provide for the people.
Now it's all about a team that keeps the dream, and we've got Queens Classic Car Club here, and they're also a recipient of an award today. Congratulations to you guys. What was the award?
Your most unique vehicle of the Harlem Day.
But right now I would love everyone to introduce themselves. Your name?
I'm Brian Williams.
Jameson Jones.
James Pringle.
Cordu Cook Sr.
Now, how long has Queens Classic Car Club been together?
About 11 months, 10 months, something like that. We formed a club when we were sponsored by the South Queens Park Association, and we branched off and handle the club ourselves now. And we just had a successful car show about a month ago. We had about 85 cars in Roy Wilkins Park, St. Albans, Queens.
That's fabulous. You know, it's nice to see when brothers get together with a common cause and then show everybody what unity and collective cooperative economics can do, correct? Now, why do you like to do cars?
I like to do cars because I've been around it since I was 8 years old. I grew up around it, and I'm 30 now, and it's pretty much in my blood.
And what advice could you give to individuals that want to start a car club? I've heard from everybody, so I'm going to come over to you.
Well, I think that you have to get people with the same thought process together, that they like the cars, that they want to work together, that they want to share ideas, and they just want to go together to different events and functions that'll make them have a good time and reminisce the fact that either they had the cars or maybe their parents or even their grandparents. It's a lot of fun. I recommend it highly.
And last but not least, the awards you guys got today, how does that make you feel being in Harlem and winning an award recognized by your own Harlemites?
Well, I was born in Harlem, so I was reared in Queens. Feels good to come back home and win an award. This is my first time coming to the show, and thanks to Mr. Cook here, I'm here, and coming back next year. And it feels real good to be recognized by your own people. You know, the car passion, you know, it's a passion for us. And not everybody has it, but, you know, we have it, and it's good to be recognized.
Last but not least, is there a website that anybody wants to join your club or know more about cars that they can go to?
We're getting the website up now. We just started, but, you know, Queens Classic Car Club, .net, and then you can go on the site and see things, and then we can join the club. We meet once a month, the first Thursday every month at Roy Wilkins Park in St. Albans, Queens.
Well, there you have it. You've got the 411. If you've got a passion for cars and you want to be part of this collective, you know where to go. This afternoon, it is all about the Uptown Harlem Yellow. I have none other than Mr. Samuel Murray, who has a 1949 milk truck. Welcome.
Thank you.
Talk about why you purchased this milk truck, because it's an odd item, but it's a Chevy, and Chevys did it in those days.
Well, actually, I didn't purchase it. A friend of mine, we joined the Marine Corps together in '64, went to Vietnam. He didn't make it back, so when I came back home, I went to visit his family, and they had it sitting in the backyard, buried pretty much, and I fell in love with it. They gave it to me, so I restored it, and I drive it all the time. It's my fun car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Talk about what goes into restoration, because a lot of people don't realize that it's a concept first and then it's the work. And did you do the restoration yourself, or did you have somebody to do it?
Well, I had, I've done some of the work myself, and the rest of it was done by different people. People that specialize in motors. They did the motor for me. The transmission was done by transmission people. And then I belonged to the Latin Cruisers. They helped me put the rest of the car together. Yeah.
And how long has car collecting been your passion?
For the past maybe 40 years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you've learned, and why did you decide to participate in this Harlem Automotive Show?
Well, I do this every year. It's a fun thing, and it's you see the community getting together, young kids, you know, older folks, and it's just a lot of fun.
You know, I loved the rocking chair, and I just want to recognize it real quick. It was like this little added thing, but I think to me it just personified all of those that have come before us and had sat down and now watching us while we're still doing our thing. Is that why you did it?
Well, you know what? Old school truck, old school chair, old man. So here we are.
I got soul. I know you got soul. It's all about a I Got Soul car show. And we've got two more car owners here. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Willie Brown, and this is my friend.
My name is Leroy Hodges, and my friend Junior.
I'm Willie Brown Jr.
Now, if they have a resemblance, it's because he's the junior. The seed don't fall from the tree, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Talk about the cars you guys are showing today.
This is my 1966 Ford Thunderbird, 428 drivetrain. I also have a 1960s called a Square Bird. And I didn't think my son was paying any attention when I was working on these cars, but he showed up with a Monte Carlo, and you can talk to him about that.
Nice.
Yes,
nice.
indeed. Thank you.
You know, the Thunderbird was the classic car. That if you had a Thunderbird, you was the man or the woman. Yeah. Talk about the ride. Talk about the.
It's beautiful. It outrides General Motors every time. You know, I got a lot of buddies who don't believe that, but it's true. You know, I mean, it's just a good riding car. It's the only way to travel. If you remember the commercial said if you're going to Florida, fly a Yellowbird, and it was talking about the Thunderbird.
Now we're going to come over to you and talk about your car, because this was the classic fly ride.
Yes, it is.
Talk to everybody about that.
All right, this is my 1979 T-Bird. It's a good driving car, and if you don't believe it, you got to try it. I also have a 1970 Pontiac, and I also have a 1965 Ford F-100, and they all look good.
Now, you know, guys, collecting is really part of an art as well as a craft. What advice could you give? Because I've been asking everyone that very same question because, you know, it also turns into commerce and we're winning shows and everything else. What advice could you give our viewers right now about why they should get into it?
Well, I think they should get into it because you meet a lot of people, different type of accents, a lot of things that you can do, a lot of things that you can tell other people how to do it, and enjoy yourself wherever you're at or where you may be.
Exactly like today, you were invited to come to Harlem. My son was born here, and I was here from 1961 to 76, and then I moved him out. But to get a chance to come back to Harlem and bring our cars with us, it was just been a pleasure for me. We was in a parade this morning at 8:30, and we're here at the show today.
Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we did delivering it to you. This is UBC-TV and your host, Amelia Ismore. Remember, UBC is telling your stories because it's television for the new millennium and also urban lifestyle television. Signing off for now. Keep it always on this network because we're next. Bye.